Everyone thought the nightmare ended when Officer Rourke went down. But the truth. He wasn't the boss, he was the bait. The man in the uniform was just a pawn in a much bigger game. And what investigators uncovered next proved the rot went all the way to the top. This wasn't about one dirty cop. It was about power. And the man pulling the strings had been standing in front of everyone the whole time. Before we dive into this terrifying chapter, hit like and follow, because part 4 is where the walls of power finally start to crumble. Daniel Rourke was supposed to be broken. A disgraced cop locked away for life. But when federal agents visited him in prison, he smiled. Not the smile of a man defeated. The smile of a man who still had control. "You think I ran this?" he said, leaning across the table. "I was just the messenger. The real boss. He wears better suits than me." The agents exchanged tense glances. If Rourke was telling the truth, then someone above him, someone with influence, was orchestrating everything. And that meant Caleb's fate was tied to a man far more dangerous. Hidden among Rourke's coded letters was one recurring name, the Judge. At first, investigators assumed it was slang for someone who passed judgment. But when they cross-referenced phone records, financial transfers, and Rourke's own schedule, the trail pointed to a chilling figure. Judge Harold Whitaker. Respected. Charismatic. A man who had presided over some of the most high-profile cases in the state. He was untouchable, or so everyone thought. But Whitaker had a history of suppressing evidence, dismissing charges for known traffickers, and ruling in ways that always seemed to benefit one side. Was he the mastermind? Then came the breakthrough. A second recording surfaced. This time, Caleb's voice was stronger, desperate. "They said the judge decides everything. Where we go. Who disappears. Who lives. Mom, if you hear this, don't trust him. Don't trust anyone in that courthouse." The FBI froze. Caleb had just named their suspect without even knowing it. Building a case against Whitaker was dangerous. Judges are shielded by layers of immunity and power. Any misstep could backfire and destroy the investigation. And worse, Whitaker was loved. He gave charity speeches, donated to churches, and shook hands at parades. To the public, he was the image of justice. But behind the curtain, money flowed through offshore accounts. A web of shell companies tied him to organized crime. And when the FBI dug deeper, they uncovered the chilling truth. Whitaker had been using his courtroom not just for justice, but as a marketplace. Cases were fixed. Victims were silenced. Witnesses disappeared. And Rourke, just his enforcer. The plan was simple in theory, impossible in practice. Catch Whitaker red-handed. The FBI staged a fake operation, planting an informant who would appear as a liability to Whitaker's network. The goal: see if Whitaker moved to eliminate him. And he did. Surveillance cameras caught a late-night meeting in a judge's chambers. Whitaker wasn't alone. With him were 2 officers, a businessman, and a lawyer. They spoke in code, but the meaning was clear. The informant was marked for disappearance. The room fell silent as agents watched the feed. This wasn't suspicion anymore. It was proof. But the trap nearly collapsed. The mole inside the FBI tipped Whitaker off. Hours before the takedown, the informant vanished from his safe house. The only clue left behind was a blood-stained cuff of his shirt, tossed on the floor like a warning. Whitaker had slipped through their fingers. Again. And if he knew they were watching? Caleb's time was running out. While investigators scrambled, Caleb's mother refused to stay silent. She spoke at rallies, went live on social media, and begged the nation to see the truth. "This isn't just about my son. This is about every victim silenced by people in power. If they can take him, they can take anyone." Her courage went viral. Hashtags trended. Protesters filled the streets outside Whitaker's courthouse. For the first time, the mask of respectability began to crack. But the louder she got, the more danger she faced. One night, a car followed her home. The headlights stayed on her bumper for miles. When she pulled into her driveway, the car idled at the curb before slowly driving off. A warning. Just when investigators were ready to move on Whitaker, The case flipped upside down. Documents leaked from inside the Department of Justice revealed something unthinkable. Whitaker wasn't acting alone. He wasn't even the top. He was just another cog in the machine. At the top was someone higher. Someone in Washington. Someone with the power to bury the investigation before it even began. And the documents contained one chilling line. Caleb Myers, asset in transit. Asset. Not victim. Asset. What did that mean? The FBI team began fracturing. Some agents wanted to push forward. Others warned that going after Whitaker, or worse, whoever was above him, was career suicide. Tensions boiled over when one agent stormed out of a meeting and never came back. Hours later, he was found dead in his car. Official ruling: suicide. But the note left behind didn't sound like despair. It sounded like fear. They are watching me. I can't stop them. Forgive me. The team realized the truth. Every move they made was being tracked. The network wasn't just big. It was everywhere. Then, out of nowhere, hope. A radio technician monitoring unusual frequencies picked up a faint signal. Bursts of static, followed by Morse code. When decoded, it spelled a name. Caleb. He was alive. He was sending signals. He was close enough to reach them. But before the FBI could triangulate the location, the signal cut off. And minutes later, Judge Whitaker was seen boarding a private jet. The agents knew it now. Whitaker wasn't fleeing. He was moving Caleb. And if that plane took off, their last chance to save him might vanish forever. As the jet engines roared and agents raced across the tarmac, one question hung in the air like a blade. Would Caleb make it out alive? Or disappear into the network forever?